everybody, welcome back to Devils United. I'm here with a review for the Chelsea versus Manchester United game. Prasanna is still running late as he's still on his channel for the Indian Super League, so I thought I'd go on my own until Prasanna comes on. Everyone hit that like button and smash that subscribe button if you're new. I'll do a review on the game and then I will do my player ratings for both teams. Good afternoon, good evening, Reese. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Just as Reese said, like and share, subscribe. Good afternoon, Rabbit. I hope you are well. Thank you for coming into the chat. I will leave your question there for Prasanna. Good afternoon, Niall. I hope you are well. Thank you for coming in. So we know what the score is. Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0. So where do I start in terms of the game? Manchester United, I feel like we did start off quite strong, if you want my opinion. We was going forward a lot more than anticipated, just because we have been on the back foot. But if you do look at the lineup and you do look at in terms of the starting 11, it is a very rotated starting 11 lineup for Chelsea. Jess Fleming is usually a bench player. Neve Charles normally does play much further back. There is a lot of injuries there with Sam Kerr, Cuthbert, and then if you look at even the substitutes for Chelsea, they've only got 6 available substitutes, including the goalkeeper. So you look at that backbench option and you're looking at that starting 11 lineup, and you are expecting that Manchester United should have the upper hand here. But that was not the case. The lineup is the same as usual for Manchester United, with Mary Ertz, Blundell, Turner, Letizia, Honor, Zellum, Lad, Galton to Paris, Russo. I know we have changed it around in terms of the right wing this season, where we've seen Thomas there, we've seen Garcia there, Paris there, and I do personally think, in my opinion, that Paris was the better option, just down to experience, and she is better in the low blocks and in the more defensive duties. I do personally think that, looking back at it now, I'd probably say it probably was a wrong call for Nikita Paris to start, just because I think maybe we could have done with that pace there of Lucia Garcia, someone who is able to cut in a lot better. Jess Carter playing as a fullback, we don't usually see. She's more of a bench option as well, or she does play in the midfield. So to see Jess Carter there, and knowing that she's made some very dirty fouls in the game as well, we should have really took that full advantage, and I just don't think Nikita Paris could have done that. Both the centre backs in Letizia and Turner were absolutely poor. Was nowhere near marking Sam Kerr, and when you have got a player like Sam Kerr in the team, you need to be marking him at all times. Neither Turner or Letizia was able to do that. There was only one chance there where Letizia did actually go and defend. She did get the better of Sam Kerr. That's once in 90 minutes. I think the forwards were poor. Out of the forwards there, Galton probably done the best. But two was a ghost throughout the whole game. Russo, she couldn't get much control when she got the ball. Paris was diving quite a lot. Katie Zellum was poor. I had to say the best player on the pitch had to be Honor, and Honor wasn't even at her best either. And you're looking at the substitute options, and this is where I'm going to look at Matt Skinner, and I am going to say he got me even more baffled. So we had Rachel Williams who came on, and I think that is the best option because personally for me, we need an experienced striker who is able to get the ball at the back of the net. And we managed. Rachel Williams came on from bench and she did get a goal against Reading. So I wasn't against Rachel Williams coming on. But what I don't understand is why you're taking Rachel Williams on and putting Ella Toon off. You should be taking off a midfielder for a midfielder, unless you are going defensively or more attacking minded. If you change any of our formations to at the top, fine. But then you're playing Martha Thomas as well. So I'm thinking 3 strikers on the pitch, because bear in mind, Martha Thomas is not a winger. As much as he's played as a right winger, she is not a winger. She is a striker. So putting 3 strikers on the pitch is absolutely mind-baffling. And that was for that was for Leah Galton, who I think was quite unfair, because I do think that Leah Galton did not deserve to come off that pitch in the moment time. So I didn't think too much of it, but then when it did come to it, Mannion came on, and I thought, right, Mannion came on for Nikita Paris, and that made me think Maskin is going more defensively. Why would you want to go more defensively? Why would you want to change your formation to 3 at the back? So that made me think, is he playing a 3-5-2? But I was actually looking at that pitch. I had no clue what the formation was. Because at times it looked like they were playing 3 at the back. Other times, it looked like Mannion was playing as a fullback, but then I'd think, but then where's Blundell and Honor? Where are they meant to be playing? So I had absolutely no clue what Matt Skinner was doing there. His tactics were absolutely wrong. You needed the creativity of Vilda Borisa, no minutes. For me, we needed Estelle Casarino to break up the play. Nowhere to be seen. Mannion, Adriana Leon was not even on the bench. Why? And then Lucia Garcia comes on in injury time. I don't understand it. And he needs to... Look, it's getting to the point where his game, his man management and his tactics need to be called out. They're nowhere near good enough. If you want to be a competing WSL team, you're not going to have a manager like Matt Skinner who's going to play the same system, the same players week in, week out, to the point where we're going to get exploited. We're not going to beat the best teams in Chelsea, and we're going to bottle it. You can't have a manager like that. And for me, if we don't look at City now, they've won their game, so they're now on joint points with Manchester United. I'm going to bring the WSL table up so we can see it. Okay, so if you look at this WSL table now, Chelsea are in first after this game against us. Fine. We're in second, but joint second with Manchester City, who have dropped points from being absolutely poor. And they've had poor games against Aston Villa. They were shocking against Aston Villa both times round. How are they already on joint points with us? We've drew against Everton when we shouldn't have drew against Everton. We should have got the win against Manchester City away. And both times we got beat by Chelsea. People are going to look and say this is an improvement now to this Manchester United team, because we didn't get battered by Chelsea. But we still looked absolutely flat. The substitutions were absolutely poor. And for me, this did not look like a side who should be in Champions League football. Because if you can never beat Chelsea, how can you beat PSG? How can you beat Barcelona? How can you beat Bayern Munich? How can you beat Lyon? You cannot do that. You really cannot do that. If we look at Arsenal, they're still yet to play their game. They're 2 games behind us now. So if they was to win their 2 games, so that's another 6 points. They'll be on joint points with Manchester United as well. It's not good enough from the Manchester United side. It really isn't. Rather, question Maisy thought on the link-up play with Man United. We genuinely did not have no link-up play whatsoever. Rather, we was absolutely shocking. We could have had another 90 minutes on that pitch. We still wouldn't have been looked any better compared to the 90 minutes we played. We still wouldn't have scored. The link-up play for me was shocking. We give the ball away so cheaply. Off topic, Maisy, did you see or watch the men's game? No, I didn't, just because I missed so much. So I thought there was no point, so I didn't watch it. Literally, the whole game was lackluster, but we didn't settle. Really worrying, because we didn't hear enough today. Here's more from you, Maisy. Maisy, do you think some players are overplayed and Skinner needs to rest some? I think, yeah, there is definitely some players who's overplayed. but there's also favoritism in some of these players. Katie Zellum should nowhere near be on that pitch. She's not good enough. Millie Turner, she always gets exploited in the defence when we're playing a big side. She's still getting played. When we still got Mannion, we still got Tukara. What is the point in having other centre backs if, for instance, Millie Turner is still going to make these horrific mistakes? For me, I don't understand why Millie Turner kept doing tackling, low block tackles, because the majority of the time they really did not pay off. And if anything, it really led for Sam Kerr or whoever else for Chelsea to go even more further forward. Liverpool beat Spurs 2-1 today. I seen that, so it was a good result there by Liverpool after losing against Leicester. Mays, do you think the system Skinner plays that exploits? I'd probably disagree with that, because if you do look at the way Manchester United play, the 4-2-3-1 probably is the best way of playing. If we was to change the formation to the 4-3-3, I don't mind the 4-3-3, but then I don't think Ella Toon suits the 4-3-3. She's better in a more advanced role. You look at Hayley Ladd is a proper defensive midfielder, but for some reason she's playing further forward this season. What's the point in having a CDM on the pitch if you're not using her as a CDM? You're using her as a box-to-box midfielder, and using your box-to-box midfielder as a defensive midfielder. It doesn't make no sense. And I just think, for me, the pivot, just based because Skinner's trying to change everyone's formations about, he's trying to make Golden play more centrally on the right wing when she's a left-footed left winger. It doesn't make sense. Why he's playing Ella Toon every single game when for me, I don't think she's played well this season. Why keep playing somebody who's not at their best performances? She hasn't played well at all when we played against the big sides. She's always very quiet, which is why I would have played Vilda Borisa. Looked like a 3-3-4. Honestly, I was looking at that. I had no clue what positions they were playing. I knew Letitia and Turner was still at the centre backs. I know Russo was still at the top, but I had no other way of what other positions was what, because it wasn't clear whatsoever. They was changing it around constantly, and that made me think the management did not have a clue what they was doing with the formations. I don't think they even had a clue why they're putting these players on. He from Luca. Hey there, Sean. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Absolutely spot on. Glazers out. It's always gonna get said. But we need to be. I know we're seeing a lot more chance now with Glazers out, which is great. But all Manchester United fans, they need to chant Glazers out, and not just chant Glazers out when we lose or when we draw. We need to do it also when we're winning. We see that at Old Trafford, but we need to see that on social media also. Hey there, Renee. I hope you are well. Thank you for coming in. Mays, you are spot on. Look at the players and their positioning. There was no urgency either. They literally did not look like they wanted to score. You could literally have played them for about 5 hours. The result would have remained the same. Because Chelsea, they was quite happy to defend us for the entire defend against us once they scored, because they knew that they had nothing to lose. And even the stats, when you look at the game, that really represented enough. Look at this: 9 shots from Chelsea compared to our 8. So if you're looking at total shots, there wasn't like much between it. Total shots, both had 3. Still not much between it. Chelsea at home was the counter-attacking team by 38% compared to our 64%. Great, we've got more possession at Kings Meadow. Fantastic. Because that's something that I had in the past. But possession-based football isn't always everything. I've always said, you don't look at the possession stat is the worst stat to have in football. And the reason why I say this is because you can have 99% possession, but if you're not scoring a goal, what's the point of you having the possession? And that's exactly what happened with Manchester United today. What was the point if Manchester United had any kind of possession when they couldn't even... They had the same amount of shots on target and 1 less total shots than Chelsea. We committed less fouls. We had no yellow cards and no red cards. Great. That's about it. we had one more corner than Chelsea, but Chelsea took a more advantage of them going forward. And I personally think, for me, all them 3 goals would have been would have had 3 shots on target for Chelsea would have gone in if it wasn't for Mary Earps. 2 out of 3. It's still pretty poor. What happened to Casemiro? Second red. Yeah, he's going to be out for 4 games. I did watch the game, Renee. What was the full-time score? Chelsea women versus Man United women, and it was 1-0 for Chelsea. 4-match ban over a ball tackle. Very dubious, considering a Leicester player had been sent off. FYI, poor officiating all weekend. Not just our weekend. I agree with Casemiro. Red. Women's team played Chelsea away. Who is the new manager for Man United? We've got Mark Skinner at the moment. Mark Skinner, his contract runs out in the summer. If we don't get into Champions League football, I don't want him to extend that contract. What at time to time, I look at it and think, we actually do look better. But if you look at a couple of seasons ago under Casey Stoner, we was first place, and the injuries took over. But we don't have that reason that we should have injuries, because we've actually got squad depth. So that's no excuse now. But the excuse now is we're not grinding out the results. There's been 2 games now where we haven't been able to score. Everton, Chelsea. We got out the Conti Cup because we was absolutely poor against Durham. We was poor against Aston Villa. So we've absolutely destroyed our hopes in one cup competition. We're still in the FA Cup. That's great. But this is what matters now, the Champions League. We've got 11 players now who's going to be running out of contracts. Big ones of Honor, Russo. Honor's actually one of the lowest paid players at Manchester United, would you believe? And Honor wants an improved contract, which is understandable. She's our best player at Manchester United. But then Manchester United humiliating her by still giving her a lowish paid contract. Get the players signed. I just personally don't think that this manager has any ambition. And if we don't get Champions League football, the majority of them players are going to be going. And if we don't get Champions League football this year, we're not ever going to get Champions League football. We don't have a manager who has got the right ambition to take the club forward. He's got a great squad. He's got a miles better squad than what Casey Stoney had. So there's no excuse whatsoever with this manager. No excuses. And if he doesn't get Champions League football, no contract. If he gets it, extend it by 1 year. And then we'll see if he gets to the groups. If he gets to the groups, great. Extend it further. But for me, I have no optimism with this manager. He's just not good enough. Question, Mays, what approach does Skinner need to have when playing bogey teams? The thing is, we need to be unexpected when it comes into the game. We look at how we played against Arsenal, how we played against Manchester City this season. And I personally think, for me, we went unexpected because we wasn't, how can I say, we wasn't all players behind the ball. We wasn't playing counter-attacking football. We was going all for it. And I think that really spooked out Arsenal. We managed to get the 3 points in the last-minute winner with Russo. Fantastic. We got an undeserved draw against Manchester City away. But the thing is, we went all attacking in that first half, but we were very poor defending in the second half. And that's what you need to do. You need to be unexpected and go all attacking. And the problem is, with Manchester United, when they play against Chelsea, they never do that. Prasanna is here now. Prasanna, how are you doing?
I only streamed for 5 hours in a row, and that penalty shootout was crazy. It finished 9-8, and yeah, finally.
I had a little bit of a
rant. Sorry for joining late.
It's okay. I had a little bit of a rant regarding the manager, but I want to get your opinion on how you think Chelsea played. Do you think you could have done better? But for me, I think you've played well. And if it wasn't for our goalkeeper, I reckon that you would have been 3-0 up.
Yeah, I mean, we went to 3 at the back. we're gonna win the three at the back. I didn't expect that would happen with Jess Carter, Buchanan, and Millie Bright going there. And our plan was just simple: sit back, find Sam Kerr with the long ball. And to be honest, Sam Kerr could have had a hat trick today. I mean, your keep ups. I think she's England Lions' goalkeeper as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she England Lions' goalkeeper. She did absolutely well. Yeah, she was superb today, and basically United and Katrin Berger basically just sat at home doing like this because she had nothing to do. And our defense was solid. Yes, there were few mistakes here and there, but apart from that, I think we deserve the win. It could have been more, but I think we deserve the win, and rightfully so. We are top even though with the game in hand.
Absolutely, I agree, and I was saying beforehand, there's a couple of players that needs questioning now for us. Katie Zellen was awful for me. She gave away a couple of silly balls, and that led to Sam Kerr's attacking. I think both Letitia and Turner, our centre backs, were absolutely shocking. And I said, when you've got a player like Sam Kerr who you're playing against, you need to be backing her at all times. You cannot leave her with plenty of space for Lauren James to cross a long ball into. You cannot do that, and that's the thing what really cost us today.
Exactly. I mean, I don't think Lauren James had a great game today, to be fair, but saying that, she did enough. I mean, she has been kind of up and down last 2-3 games. I think the fact that she's been continuously playing, and you're obviously going to have this and actually, to be fair, we didn't have a strongest 11 playing.
Yeah.
We had Cuthbert out. We had Guru Raitan out. We had two other players out. We had Magda Eriksson who came off the bench. Was it Eriksson or Harder? Eriksson who came off the bench. Sorry. Yeah, Harder's out with a hamstring injury. So, and we had Lauren James who was basically playing. He was playing in second gear. So the fact that I thought United should have given a lot more. The fact that you were going into those final areas, like the likes of Paris, I think Paris played well today. I think she was one of your best players today, Paris. Apart from that, you cannot really say that, okay, she played well. I think overall you were bang average at best, to be fair. And
yeah, I completely agree. And to be honest, with Manchester United, I looked at Chelsea's starting 11. I looked at their bench, and I said, we've got much better bench here than Chelsea. We need to be giving our best shot. Maybe the substitutes might be the difference. But on Monday, when I'd done my preview with Andy and Chloe, I'd still predicted us to lose. I predicted a 2-1 loss because we can never do something with Chelsea. And I said, if you've got a starting 11 like Manchester United, where we're doing so well this season, and you've got a very rotated Chelsea side, because there's a lot of injuries in Chelsea, and you still can't get a win, there's got to be questions raised with this Manchester United side, and the management needs to be questioned. I looked at Mannion. I love Mannion. Why did you bring her on instead of an attacking threat? We don't need to play defensive. We need to go forward. We need to score a goal. Take Hildia Golden off, who I think was our best forward player. That raised a lot of questions for me as well. I think Nikita Paris, I think she did offer some more crosses than the other players, but I think there was a few times where she dived, and I'm not a fan of diving.
I mean, was it the one like against Buchanan in the first half? I think it was like where it seemed there was like minimal contact, and I think it was Paris as well who went down as if like I know you're running at speed, and when you get touched, when you get even a small touch, you go down, but that's just totally unnecessary. I mean, that screams desperation, if you want to call it that way. So it's like. But at the end of the day, I think you played into our hands. Our system was just sit back and wait and just hit it long. And we didn't even need to get out of second gear. I don't even think we got out of second gear. We were shocking against last 4 games, I would say, because against Arsenal in the FA Cup, we didn't get out of second gear. Arsenal in the Conti Cup final, we were piss poor. Against Brighton, I think we did enough. And even today, we didn't even need to get out of second gear. Right? It was squeaky bum time at the end, but at the end of the day, with not even our strongest 7, with us not even to get out of second gear, we still beating you. Absolutely says a lot. And given that you're and this is the top of the table clash, this didn't look like a top of the table clash, to be fair. This looked like a mid table clash with both teams, but didn't want to lose.
I completely agree with you, and I just think that I agree, knowing that there was a lot of interest, Manchester United could have done a whole lot more better, and that's where, and I even said, like, you look at the table now, because we've had a draw against Everton, we've lost twice against us this season, and we drew against Manchester City. Now we're joint level on points with Manchester City, who I also think hasn't even had a good season this season. I think they've been poor at times.
Big up to Shaw, though. She broke, I think she has broken a Man City scoring record.
She has, and I just think for me that if Manchester City, who I think they've lost a lot of players this season, they've had to kind of rebuild the team in a way because they've lost 5 players. If that's the case with Manchester City and the joint points on us, what can we really say about our team if that's the case?
Yeah, and you lot were in a supposed title race a few days back when you went top of the table. I mean, at the end of the day, class was always going to speak. And only thing, like, your goal difference is way bigger than Man City's, to be fair. So, but do you play Man City again?
Yes, we've got them at home, second to last game of the season.
Oh, I think second to last game we play Arsenal at home as well. So that could be a big twist to the title race. But shoot, we play Man City on the 26th. That could be that's going to be a great game as well. But you need to ask questions because I think at points you've been decent this season, but you've been very inconsistent. The consistency is the key. I mean, it's good beating the other teams, good play, beating Liverpool, and I think you beat Arsenal as well once this season. It's good beating those teams, but it's against Chelsea, and it's mainly Chelsea because United have. I just read up this morning. I think I knew this one, but Man United women have not won against Chelsea women at all.
Never.
9 games, 8 wins for Chelsea and just 1 draw. And this season itself, we've beaten you twice. The season before, I think we beat you. I think it was thrice. I think because I know it was the FA Cup once.
We got 2 cups. We've had 2 leagues, and then one of them was the Conti Cup semi-final.
We beat you 3-1. And obviously one was the last day of the season. When we won 4-2. Sean, yes, I do have a YouTube channel. I think Maisy would have pinned it to a title. Have you?
Reese has got. Yeah, I've got it in the title. Reese is playing in the chat as well.
Yeah, so I'm just 7 short of 900 subs. Hope I can get there very soon.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's the thing. Man United against Chelsea women. It's always that thing. Is it just the thing against Chelsea, or is it in general? Because you always have that one bogey team that you hate playing against. Is it just that you were playing Chelsea, or was it just the fact that you were not good enough? Because
I have to say both, because it always seems that we can't do well against Chelsea. Last season we wasn't good against Man City, we wasn't good against Arsenal either. And but in the
what's your record against them in general?
Against Chelsea and Arsenal?
No, City.
One. I think we've only ever had 1 win. We've only ever had 1 win, and that was in the Conti Cup group stages. We've beaten Arsenal twice. One of them was 2 seasons ago, and one of them was this season.
Yeah.
And I said as well, if you want to be a top club, if you want to be a competing club, or you be in the Champions League constantly, you need to beat these great teams in the WSL. You cannot expect to finish 2nd or 3rd in the WSL, going to the Champions League group stages, because you'll get battered by Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Lyon. They're some of the top clubs in the world, and you get absolutely battered. You get humiliated with that midfield we have today.
Exactly. I mean, we face Lyon. I just hope we don't get battered, because it's like we all know Lyon and their record in the Champions League and whatnot, but it would be a tough contest, but I hope we beat them. But saying that, it's like, what's just getting to Champions League going to do? It's basically like even in the men's Premier League, or top 4, top 3. It just makes no sense. It's basically you win the league or it's nothing. Okay, Champions League just gets that extra money. Would we do? But what after that?
Exactly, I agree. And the problem
How many
is that
players have you actually signed in this window? How many have you let go? So what is the thing? Were you happy with the transfer windows that Man United has done this season?
we've been, for me, this is the best transfer window we've had. Signed May Letitia for 50k.
Yeah.
We signed Nikita Paris for around 100k.
Okay.
We signed Lucia Garcia on a free. We signed Adriana Leon on a free.
Yeah.
Who else? I'm trying to think who else. We signed 3 players in January as well. So the squad depth has actually come. So there was no excuses as to why we shouldn't be competing. And the thing is, I said it before, we've got 11 players up on contract at the end of the season. 11. That's
What?
Yeah, 11 players is out of contract in the summer. And the problem is
I
not
was crying about Pernilla Harder and Magda Eriksson stalling on contracts, and you're making me feel better.
Yeah, we've got up to 11 players out on contract, and they said that they want to play Champions League football. Yeah, Tunkara, another one. She hasn't even had any minutes.
What's the point?
Cascarino. Exactly. She's played a couple of games in the Conti Cup, and that's about it. Cascarino came on as a loanee from PSG. Lisa, she came permanent for 160k. She's not even had a single minute in January. And we signed a fullback, and she's still injured. Why did we sign injured players? That doesn't make sense. But I look at that and I just think up to 11 players out of contract, and they've all said they want to play Champions League football. That's understandable. You're not going to want to stay at a club where you're not going to get Champions League football when you've got Russo, who's one of the best strikers in the world right now. You've got Mary Earps. She's got an option to extend, but she's going to want to play Champions League football as well, just because of the high caliber that she's got. So, and Hayley Ladd, she's a great defensive midfielder. She might want to move and play Champions League football. And I just think for me is that it feels, as much as we need to win the league one day, it's kind of like, because we've got all these players up for contract, it's like Champions League or nothing. If we get no Champions League, most of these players are going to go. If we get the Champions League, we can probably get
What
some
do
of
you
them.
do with no Champions League though? Because that at least gives you an option to go for the league.
What did you say, sorry?
Say if you don't have Champions League for a season, does that leave you an option to at least concentrate on the league and win that fully, if that's an option?
Potentially, yes. And then we've still got the cup competitions as well. But the thing is, we absolutely damaged any hopes. We damaged the Conti Cup hopes this season by losing against Durham on penalties, losing against Aston Villa on penalties. It's not good enough.
Facts. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, yeah, Lancel just echoed what I said. We got the decision with the ref, but Chelsea didn't come out of second gear. Exactly. We didn't have a strongest team, and we didn't even come out of second gear. We were just strolling around the park, as if we know Sam Kerr will score. That's inevitable. That's inevitable.
Exactly. We'll quickly jump into the comments. For the game to follow against Lewes, who do you think will start? The thing is, because it's at the weekend and we've got no league game, we're going to probably do a full strength squad. So it's going to probably be the same squad as who's played today. Because, Matt Skinner doesn't exactly rotate. Hey there, Indian Scouser. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Lanzel's absolutely spot on. We have a squad, but we haven't got the right captain to string the ship. Yep, Katie Zellen was absolutely poor today. Sean, did the game feel like when Ollie was in charge? Pardon?
Wasn't Zellen hooked off?
No. Hayley Ladd came off. Galton came off. Paris came off. Toon came off.
Okay, got it. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Did the game feel like when Ollie was in charge? At least Ollie could get you some results, that's just say. Liam, big up to you too. Thank you for coming in. Hope you are well. Ravi's got a question for you, Prasanna. Thoughts on your defence today?
Well, we were just solid. I mean, your team, we just sat back. We set up the back three, back five, how you want to call it, and we just stunk the place out. It doesn't help when your players are just going on the wing and crossing as if, okay, we'll just cross it. Because we have to cross it, we'll just cross it. There were one or two couple of moments in between where you kind of looked like playing in between us and you could have scored. But apart from that, we really were just solid, and Anne Berger could have just been sitting home, in an easy chair, just doing like this, because she had nothing to do. And all his shots were basically straight at her. Basically, like, she could have basically hold her hands like this, because basically everything she did was this.
She literally, we didn't even attempt to shoot with Berger. He literally went straight to her. The free kick was absolutely horrendous that Katie Zellum done. Russo had no control of the ball. If anything, I'd say the best chance of the game came from Leah Golan.
Yeah.
Alonso spot on. Mark man-matched Emma's 3-5-2 when we needed a goal, and that just makes me question him. He really makes me question him. Do you think United might get Champions League from Sean? Don't know, to be honest, mate.
Even if you get Champions League, are you actually making an effort to win it? Because what's the point being there if you're not going to win it?
Exactly, and even when you look at the games as well, because Arsenal's got a game in hand, they have got if they win their game in hand and today's game, they'll be joint level on points with Man United, and this is a very
they face Reading. It should be an easy win for them.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is a very injured Arsenal side who's lost their best players, Amidamar and Beth Mead. So, and then you look at that and think, how are we not further ahead at this point?
Exactly.
Ravi's got another question for you. What's your thoughts on Emma Hayes?
Just somehow sort out the contracts of both Pernilla Harder and Magda Eriksson. I know Pernilla Harder is coming back off a lengthy injury and whatnot, but just make sure to keep the squad. And I think, again, he's done fantastic this season. Last season, we got kicked out of the Champions League group stage, but we still won the FA Cup and the league. We lost in the Conti Cup final. This season, we lost again in the Conti Cup final, and I think she got it kind of wrong in the Conti Cup final. I don't think we were just set up. We basically kind of folded when we scored the first one. We kind of just folded. But apart from that, you cannot really point out at Emma. Probably you can question a bit, like, defensively, because we have conceded a lot of goals this season. Compared to normal defenses, but maybe 3 at the back is the way to go, and let's see if she persists with 3 at the back. But again, Emma Hayes doesn't need explanations.
I think from a rival point of view, like, she can really infuriate the rival fans, I must be honest. But for everything she's done at Chelsea, she's been a fantastic manager. She's built this Chelsea team to
exactly. She needs to start you outside Kings Meadow, if not Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, I agree, and the thing is as well, like, as I say, she's built the team up for the future with Lauren James. Eve Charles is only very young as well, and I think Perisic is very young, isn't she?
Probably. Yeah, Eve Perisic is 28. Perisic's 28, yeah.
Yeah, so she's built, even if, for instance, one day you went and got a new manager, you've still got a fantastic team who can compete for a very long time, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And Randall said, even with Champions League, we need a new gaffer. Seriously, I agree. Personally, I want the Aston Villa manager. I really like her. I think she's great.
Right.
And the thing is I just think that she's really built up the Aston Villa side. She kept Birmingham up and with only 11 players available, and I just think that really takes the character of a manager to be able to do that. She's had that pulling skills of bringing in Rachel Daly, Jordan Nobbs, Lucy Staniford, and I think if she didn't have a project here at Aston Villa, they would never have come.
Yeah, exactly.
Ravi's got a question. Would you like VAR in the women's game? And if you want my opinion, this is the thing though. As much as VAR will probably do a better job, we need better refs. The refs are atrocious. I think the refs are crap in the women's game.
At least we would get like a few offside decisions, maybe go here and there, because if you're offside, you're offside. The other decisions, you can question them, but at least But again, problem is not VAR. Problem is the people that are sitting at Stockley Park and looking at the VAR. That's the biggest problem.
Agreed. I completely agree. So what I thought we would do the player ratings for both teams. Does that sound good with you?
Yeah.
Great. Shall we start off with the winning team, Chelsea?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we'll start off with Chelsea. Okay. So we'll start off with Berger. What would you rate Berger for today's game?
6. Didn't really have a whole lot to do. Just had everything straight at her. So 6. Kept it solid. She didn't really need to do much.
I probably would have gave her a 7. But should we go with the 6.5 because it's in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If she had to make 1 or 2 saves, you would be like, yeah, like you could give her 7 or an 8. But she didn't really have anything to do. So standard 6.
We'll go with the next player now, Jess Carter. For me, with Jess Carter, she did make quite a few fouls in the game, but she was heavily involved in the game. I'd give Jess Carter a 6.
Yeah, I'll give her 6 as well. She was she did well. She was rash in a few moments, but I think overall she was good enough. So I think 6 makes sense.
Yep, 6 is good with me as well. Okay. Millie Bright is the next one.
I think she was good today. I gave both Millie Bright and Buchanan. I would give both of them a 7. I think I would more so Buchanan an 8 because I think Millie Bright was good, but Buchanan was outstanding. I think she was the best out of her back three. Like she did overdo a few things here and there, but I think overall she had a fantastic game. Sometimes when you see she does have those moments when she's Bambi on ice. But apart from that, she was solid today. She tackled when she had, and I think I would give 7 for Millie Bright and a 7 I'll give 7 for both Millie Bright and Buchanan, to be fair.
For me, I had a 7 for Millie Bright just because I think she did play very well. And you see that time to time where in terms of when Russo had the ball and Nikita Paris, she was there and she was there, she managed to defend very well. I think Buchanan, I can name about 3 or 4 different times where she let the ball to be a throw-in rather than a corner. So she did lead for less opportunities for Man United, and she was for me solid in the back line as well. I had 8 for Buchanan just because I think she was the better centre back in my opinion.
8. I think 8. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. We'll go now for Eve Perisic. For me, with Eve Perisic, I think for me at time to time, I think she was good overall, but at time to time, I think she was caught out a bit as well. On when Manchester United was on the attack, I had Eve Perisic as a 6.5, just because I don't think she was as bad to be a 6, but I don't think she was as good to be a 7.
Yeah, 6 makes sense. Just above average, I would say. A 6 makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, we'll put a 6 on for her. I can't pronounce this German name, so I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you gonna rate for her?
Should have scored that one volley when she I think she blasted over. She should have scored, but got a yellow card. But apart from that, I felt she was okay. I mean, I would give her a 6. I think she was okay at best. She's just slowly coming back from injury and whatnot. She's just starting games as well. So she's just slowly coming back. So just for that fight, I'll give her a 7. We'll give her a 7. Yeah.
Okay. I agree with that. And I do think she was probably the more quieter one out of the out of the midfielder role. I do think Ingle was the better midfielder.
Yeah, Ingle was better. Yeah. Ingle, I give her an 8. She was outstanding. She was superb.
Yeah, I had Ingle as an 8 as well, just because I do think that Ingle was all over the pitch. She was bringing the ball forward. She was doing well with the defensive duties as well. If, for instance, Semke didn't get played the match, I'd probably have to give it Ingle.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she ran the midfield.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. We've got now Neve Charles. What would you go for Neve Charles?
She was good in parts. Defensively, she did what she did. I think she was more better defensively than a forward, so I'd give her a 7. 7. I think 7 makes sense.
Yeah, I think for me with Ingle, she didn't really. I mean, Charles, she didn't really have too much to do.
Yeah,
Because usually she does play in the fullback position, but she did play a little bit more further forward than usual. And for me, she didn't really have too much defensive duties to do. So, she just done the job, and the 7 seems very fair for me.
yeah.
Jess Fleming now as the next one. Jess Fleming, I'd probably give her a 6.5 for me, just because I didn't really see too much of her, to be
Yeah, I'd
honest.
give her a 6. She was bang average.
Yeah, I didn't really see too much of her, but put her as a 6. And we'll go now with Lauren James.
Not her usual self, but still, like, she had her moments with those twinkle toes and whatnot. But I would say, like, 6.5. I think she was not at her best, but still had something about her. I'd say 6.5, yeah. Of course, the assist. So I guess 6.5 makes sense.
Yeah, I had her as a 7 initially, so I'd say the 6.5 is fair. She did get the assist, and I think it was a great long ball from Lauren James. And I think for me that she did a little bit more than usual. She was tracking back. She was trying to make herself in the DM at times. So I think she was great, but I think at time to time she did get exploited as well.
Yeah, she did.
And we'll go now with Sam Kerr. I'd have to put Sam Kerr as probably an 8.5 for me.
Yeah, 8.5. Yeah. Could have scored a hat trick, but overall, again, like whatever she could do, she did. And we have basically Sam Kerr only for one thing: scoring goals. Nothing else. You put a ball on a play, you give the ball to her, and she will score. There is nothing else she needs to do. I mean, she does track back and whatnot, but overall, at the end of the day, that's it. And I'll give her an 8 purely for the fact that she should have scored a hat trick.
Yeah, she should have scored an hat trick. I think she got the better of both the centre backs at the majority of the game.
I mean, I think there was one point in the second half where she literally went get lost, and she almost scored.
Yeah, and I just think if it wasn't for Mary Earp, she would have got that hat trick.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got Berger as a 6.5, Carter as a 6, Millie Bright as a 7. We have Buchanan as an 8. We have Perisic as a 6. We got Leopold as a 7.
Yes.
Yeah. Ingle as an 8, Charles as a 7, Fleming as a 6, Lauren James 6.5, Sam Kerr 8.5.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, sounds good.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And we'll do Manchester United now. I'm not going to be so generous with my ratings for these ones. Let's just say. Okay. So, Mary Earps, for me, she was probably one of our best players.
Easy.
Without a doubt. And I think if it wasn't for her, it would have been 4-0, 3-0 up.
Easy, yeah.
And because she had more things to do, I'd give her a 7.
Fair enough.
What would you give her?
I would say an 8 because the save she had to make.
Yeah.
I would say 8, but I guess we'll go 7.5.
We'll go with yeah, 7.5, and that's in the middle then. Yeah. Hannah Blundell now. What's your rating for Hannah Blundell?
She was probably the better out of the back four, to be honest. I mean, even though she wasn't great, she was making some runs there, and I think a 7 would make sense. She was probably the better out of your back line.
Yeah, I agree. Both Blundell and Otter, who we're gonna go to, I think they were the best. They were the best defensive players. Blundell, she did go forward quite a bit as well. So I think a 7's fair because she was trying to bring the ball forward as much as possible, and she did. I think for me as well, there wasn't too much where the attack went to for Chelsea. It was mostly in the middle. So Yeah, I'd go with a 7 for her as well. Millie Turner, I'm gonna go for a 3 for her. I think she was nowhere
She
near
was
good enough.
poor.
She was. What I don't understand is why was she doing low tackles? It did not make sense for me whatsoever. She was probably for me our centre back.
Yeah, probably. Leticia was
Well,
that bit better, but that's not saying much.
what would you go for?
4. She was poor, but yeah, 4.
We'll put 3.5 then.
Yeah.
Letitia's next.
I
What are
would
you
say
gonna go?
5. She was slightly better, but she wasn't great either. So 5.
I had Leticia as a 4, so I'll put her as a 4.5.
Yeah.
Even though it was the one near the end where she was able to get the better of Sam Kerr, and that was the only time she did, because all the other times she got absolutely exploited by Sam Kerr, both
Yeah.
Leticia and Turner.
Yeah.
Even though Leticia was better, all the times they were both far too forward, and you can't do that against Chelsea. I'll do nowhere near marking Sam Kerr. No player was marking any of the Chelsea players. They weren't pressing, and I think for me, Turner and Leticia were two of the worst players on the pitch.
Yeah, probably.
Honor. What for me, I had Honor as a 6. I think she wasn't the worst one, but I think for me she could have done a little bit better as well. She got a little bit better in the second half, bringing the ball a bit more forward. What would you go for, Prasanna?
I'll go like with a 6-6. She did get forward, but she didn't do much with it. I mean, she had to get forward because we were basically just sitting back and shutting up shop, and that's it. And she didn't do much with the ball. So I think 6 makes perfect. 6. She wasn't bad, but she wasn't great either. So 6, I think, should be fine.
And this is going to be a good one now. Katie Zellum. Oh, you know what?
She was a captain that never led. Seriously.
She was shocking. Absolutely shocking. I'm going to go for a 2. Nowhere near good enough. She gave the ball away far too many times.
You know Foot Mob, right? Foot Mob?
Yeah.
I'm seeing their player ratings and they're giving Selim a 7.2. I'm like, what?
I seen that. Every single time I do a watch along, for some reason, she always gets a high rating. And I think, is Foot Mob actually like a bias towards Katie
I don't know. I give her 2. She was pathetic. She basically captain that never led. Seriously. You're a captain going into a game, top of the table clash. And you need to at least draw to stay top of the table. And you didn't do that. Sorry. At least you should be happy we're not giving her a 0. I know Devil's Rising gives her a 0, but 2 at best. At best, it's a 2. 2 is being generous.
I had her as a 2 as well. Give the ball away far too many times. One of it was actually to Sam Kerr. I was like, if you're going to give the ball away, why'd you give it to Sam Kerr out of all people? Sideward passing, backward passing. When she brought the ball forward, she was giving it away. Shocking set piece, shocking corners. And I agree. Like, a lot of United fans, well, Man United women's fan base is very split. Half of them absolutely love Katie Zellum, and they think Katie Zellum is better than Zidane. And half of the other fan base hate Katie Zellum. They don't think she's good enough. She shouldn't be in the starting 11. She shouldn't be the captain. Yeah, it's a real split opinions. And I don't think, if she's going to play, fine, but she should not be the captain.
Yeah.
We need a leader on that pitch, and even though none of them displayed leadership roles, Honor is a much better captain. Hayley Ladd, who's the one we're going to come to next, a much better captain. And there isn't many captains about now in that lineup today.
Says it all, seriously.
We'll go now on to Hayley Ladd anyway. For me, Hayley Ladd was pretty bang average. I had her as a 5.
5, yeah, makes sense. Bang average, nothing much.
Nothing much. The thing is, right, this is Matt Skinner. Katie Zellum is a box-to-box midfielder, so she's an 8. Hayley Ladd, she's a defensive midfielder, so she plays as a 6. And the problem is that Matt Skinner is converting Hayley Ladd to play as a box-to-box midfielder and converting Katie Zelm to play as a defensive midfielder.
Makes no sense. Square pegs round holes.
And Lanzel's absolutely spot on. She's playing out of position, and it's down to Matt Skinner. Why would you want a defensive midfielder to bring the ball forward constantly? You want them to be in front of the centre backs and defend when needed to be, and that's not what Hayley Ladd's role's been this season. You gave it to Katie Zelm, who gives the ball away cheaply.
Yeah. 5 makes them just didn't make sense. She is out of position, but she could have done a lot better. So bang average. We'll say 5.
We'll go now to Leah Galton. What's your rating for Leah Galton?
Average again. 5.5 at best.
I had her as a 6 just because I think she was the best out of the attacking line. But yeah, I think a 5.5 is fair just because she had the best chance in the game, but I just don't think she was nowhere near as good enough. And the problem is with Leah Galton done a corner kick, and I think she's been better at the corners than Zelm, but the corners were shocking. The corner she done was absolutely shocking, and you can see what she was trying to do. Like, she was trying to get ahead of Carter and Perisic, but it just really didn't work today. She needed that little bit more support with her, and she didn't have that.
She didn't know. Absolutely not.
Ella Toone now. I think Ella Toone was also very poor. She was a ghost the entire game.
Yeah.
She gave the ball away as well, very cheaply. I had her as a 4.
I would say 3. As your attacking midfielder, you did nothing.
Yeah. And this is the problem. So you said a 3. We'll go 3.5.
Yeah.
The problem is with Toone. I think you've probably watched a lot of Toone. I think Toone, for me, she's a fantastic player. she's got the potential because she's still only young to become one of the best attacking midfielders in the world. No question about that. But the problem is with Ella Toone is that when you're playing the big games against Man City, Arsenal, and Chelsea, 9 times out of 10, she's nowhere to be seen. She gives the ball away so cheaply, and I agree with Reese. I said before the game started, I would have started Vilde Borisa. Vilde Borisa, she's played 60 minutes in the WSL this season.
Wow.
60 minutes. And for me, I would be playing her ahead of Ella Toone right now. Maybe the fact she's overworked, I don't know, but she's even like when she's got an open goal, she's not doing it. She's been. I just think she just doesn't look the same player at all this season compared to what we've seen last season. And
right.
But when you look at her in the England squad, she doesn't look overworked. She still looks fantastic. So I'm thinking, is it Matt Skinner's tactics what's letting her down?
Yeah, probably. I mean, country versus club, if you see a vast difference, it can only be that.
Yeah. Lanzo said he'd play 2 Vilde Borisa with Ladd. And the problem is with that, Katie Zelm will never be dropped. And if we was to play Borisa, it'd either be Hayley Ladd that will drop, or it'll be Ella Toone. 8 out of 10, he will not drop Ella Toone. So that means Hayley Ladd will be dropped. That means we've got no defensive midfielder. And then we'll be back how we was last season.
Yeah.
And that's just the problem, is it's just, you shouldn't be scared to drop your captain when they put up a stinker of performance. And and that's the difference between Emma Hayes, for instance, and Matt Skinner. I'm sure Emma Hayes would not be scared to drop Billy Bright if she had to.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you're a top manager and you want to play Champions League football or win the league, you need to drop these players.
No risk, no reward.
Exactly. We'll go now for Nikita Paris. What's your rating for Paris?
I think Paris was one of your better attackers. I give her a 7.
I had Paris as a 6. Just because I just think that she could have done a whole lot more better for me, in my opinion.
Yeah.
She did some good low crosses. I think that the foul on the box, it was a dive for me, in my opinion. I don't think it was a penalty. It would have been given as a penalty in the men's game, but not the women's. No chance that would have got given in the women's game. And Lanzel spot on. Work rate, but no end product.
Yeah, sums it up.
Yeah, we'll go 6.5 then for Paris. And we'll end it off with Russo. I'd have to give Russo a 1. Wow. She didn't do anything.
Non-existent. I mean, what did she do? Apart from put on a kid the right way.
That's very true. Yeah. I had Russo as a 3.
2. Okay, we'll put it 2 as an average. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll put it as a 2. Just as Katie Zellum, Millie Turner, Letizia, she was nowhere near good enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, very poor ratings from Man United. Mary Ertz being clear of the best.
Seriously.
Best rated player on the pitch, and I think that says a lot when your goalkeeper's your best rated player.
Yeah. Can't say more than that, can you?
No, you can't. So the rating, Mary Ertz 7, Blundell will be 7.5, Blundell 7, Turner 3.5, Letizia 4.5, Honor 6, Zellum 2, Haylard 5, Galton 5.5, 2 3.5, Paris 6.5 and Russo 2. Yeah, just shocking. If you are watching it back, let me know what your ratings are as well. And Reese just put Maisy 3 at the back goal. I could play this team at 3 at the back. Who have you got next game then? Because you're still in the FA Cup, aren't you?
Yeah, we got Reading next week in the FA Cup, and after that we got I think it's City. Check once. Okay. I know we got Reading, and then we got City on the 26th. And 22nd we have the Champions League. How do I forget that? We have next Sunday we play Reading away, and then it's the big one, the Champions League on the Wednesday, where we play Lyon away. God help us.
So I'm guessing you're probably expecting a tiny bit more rotation than for the FA Cup game against Reading.
I think we'll start strong because there's still a week. I think we'll start strong, but once the game is, I think once 70 minutes, I think if we're like 2-0 or 3-0 up, then we'll rotate.
And I think for me, we do need to rotate because we got Lewes next, then they're a championship side club. We got Lewes, and then that's a good question. Who we got next after that? We've got Lewes, and then we have got West Ham, and that's actually at the Old Trafford. So for me, what I would do, I would put a rotated side against Lewes. It doesn't matter if we've had a week. The players shouldn't. Some of the players who's played shouldn't be playing. Millie Turner needs to be dropped. Zellum needs to be dropped, which won't happen, but. We do need to do some rotation. And if you can't do rotation against Lewes, when can you do rotation? That's all I'm going to say.
Exactly.
But I think we will put a strongest 11 out for West Ham, just because West Ham is, with it being at Old Trafford, you're going to want to put a good performance on. Reece, Tunkar and Letizia needs to be asked as starting centre-backs. The problem is, Tunkar has not played since around October time. October, November, so she isn't going to get thrown in. So it's going to be probably Mannion who came on as a substitute. I think she's great. She shouldn't have just come on as a sub. But we'll wrap it up here now. Thank you, Prasanna, for coming on and doing this review show. I'm sure you're very happy after the 3 points.
Happy. I'm tired. I've got to get something to eat before I'm actually heading out to meet a friend, so... Gotta get something to eat because I'm literally tired.
Oh, that's fair enough. Yeah, I'll let you go then. Would you like to shout out your socials?
Of course, PB Talks, my channel name. Close to 900 subscribers. I don't want to sound like too, boasting or something, but I had nearly 50 people watching my women's stream today. So. Generally, when I do women's streams, people do tend to watch it compared to the men's games because women's streams, not many people do it. So at least the fact that we are kind of different, the fact that people are watching our channels, but I would love them if they liked and subscribed as well. That would actually help it a bit more. So it is what it is, but it is what it is. But I'll keep continuing streaming the women's games. And I just Prasanna Bala 97 on Instagram and On Twitter, it's Prasanna Balakrishnan. You can, I think Maisy will tag me and I'll do so as well once the stream ends, and for everyone who can watch it on playback. But yeah, man, thank you for joining. And of course, I will be in London in June first week. Hope we can catch up. Hopefully, because it's so far, London and Manchester, we have to find a time to basically kind of meet somewhere. But we'll sort it out. That's not a problem.
Absolutely. Everyone who hasn't already, go and subscribe to Prasanna. Get him to 900 subscribers. It's well deserved. And Prasanna is one of the only channels I know does women's content as well, just like myself. So it needs to get a lot more support. And I agree with Prasanna. A lot more people do tend to watch the women's watch-alongs. That's why I've stopped doing the men's ones, just because everyone does them.
Yeah. What's the point?
Yeah. There's no point in doing one when everyone's doing it, and I like to do the women's watch alongs just because it is something different, and I haven't been going games for a few weeks now, so I thought I'd do the watch alongs instead. Big up Football Power Hour, thanks for coming in, I hope you are well. Vamos, hey there, Football Fiera, my friend, I hope you're well, thanks for coming in, and you are also the best as well, you're a great person. Yeah, if you, as I say, go and subscribe to Prasanna. You've already got one more subscriber here of Football Power Hour.
Thank you.
So smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and we'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.